Rock and roll, windmills, and Mr. Beast. We've got a little bit of everything this week. Hello, I'm Matthew here on Watch It Played, and this is your board game news. Rock Hard was announced by Devere Games from designer Jackie Fox, and while this may be her first game, she knows a lot about the topic as a former member of a real-life rock band, The Runaways. She also won Jeopardy like 4 times. It's 1977, you're an up-and-coming musician dreaming of making it big with your band, and over the next few months you'll rehearse, play gigs, write songs and promote your group. And with careful planning and a little bit of luck, you'll earn the most fame and become the best new artist of the year. So 2 to 5 aspiring artists will play over a maximum of 9 rounds, each representing a typical day during a month in 1977 from April to December. You win the game by accruing the most fame, just like YouTube, but here fame is scored in increasing reputation, chops and songs, achieving production performance and publicity bonuses, getting record deals and earning royalties, playing concerts and hanging out at the hottest after-hour spots. This looks great. It's a refreshing theme, and I noticed that there's little dials on the game boards that go up to 11, which is always a nice touch, and Rock Hard will be released at Gen Con next year. But first, here's a message from the people who helped make this episode possible: Worldspanner Factions from Worldspanner, an imaginative adventure game hiding a deep strategy and tactics challenge. Play for the strategy or play for the adventure, and have a great time doing either, because Worldspanner Factions is the perfected and streamlined successor to Duel of Ages, a series that has won 29 Game Awards, including 11 #1 games of all time, Game of the Year and Best Reprint. With 5 modes of play, this cooperative team game for 2 to 8 players uses a rare card system that both resolves game results swiftly and balances out the luck. Plus, tools are included for creating your own custom mods to play. There's heaping spoonfuls of other features that we haven't covered here, so follow the link in this video's description to find all the details and get ready for the Kickstarter campaign, which starts Tuesday, October the 24th. Then dive into this extensive yet easy to learn epic. Also from Devere Games, we have Cities, a new 2 to 4 player tile placement game from Steve Finn and Phil Walker Harding, which all makes me very happy. You've been tasked by the City Council to put together a plan to transform a whole neighbourhood into the city. What were they thinking? You have the opportunity to build new housing, office buildings, parks and leisure areas, and it's of course in your hands to make the city a better place. Which city? Well, you can visit Sydney, London, New York, Barcelona, Rio de Janeiro, Lisbon, Mexico City and Buenos Aires. I noticed Stourbridge isn't mentioned. Yet another snub to my hometown by the international community. We have a canal. The game is played over 8 rounds, in which the players use their workers to collect a scoring card, a city tile, feature tiles and building pieces. City tiles are made up of park spaces, water spaces and building spaces. Building pieces are placed on plots of the same colour to form buildings, which could be 1 to 4 stories high, and whenever a player fulfills an achievement, they place one of their discs on the achievement board for precious points. This one looks very exciting and will be out next year. Mr. Beast, the world's biggest YouTuber, had a Dune Imperium tournament, which isn't something I thought I'd be saying today. From an interview with his manager, he'd been playing Dune Imperium a whole bunch, and one day asked his manager, how can I play this against the best players in the world? His manager suggested we could hold a tournament. So Mr. Beast reached out to Direwolf Digital, and they invited several people from the active Dune Imperium Discord and past tournament winners, and had a tournament with cash prizes. Mr. Beast won, but unsurprisingly, his winnings were put back into the pot. According to his Twitter post, he's been an avid player, and this event goes to show it. Unlike what he's typically known for, it doesn't appear to have been any specific stunt or challenge surrounding the event. It's just a gathering to hang out and play the game in a competitive environment. The tournament was also run using the upcoming standalone Dune Imperium Uprising edition, so this would have been the first place that players would have had a chance to play that edition. And now if we can get Taylor Swift to play a board game, we could really see some growth in the hobby. Windmill Valley was announced by Board and Dice. There's slightly less info online about this one at the moment, but I was able to look at it at Essen a couple of weeks ago, where it was available to try out. Immerse yourself in a world of colours and cultivate the most stunning tulip fields in this midweight resource management Eurogame from Danny Garcia, who designed Barcelona. Windmill Valley is a lighter game than Barcelona with a cool cog mechanism, and I'll let you know more about it when more's available, but I'm particularly interested in this one. The 1 to 4 player Rune Masters is coming from Funforge, which is a cooperative tower defense game where players take on the role of, well, Rune Masters and have a sworn duty to protect the temple of mankind against the forces of evil. Each turn, new monsters spawn on the board and advance towards the temple, while us Rune Masters roll our 4 unique dice to combine their results for various ways to attack enemies, move around the temple, prevent monsters from advancing using our individual player powers, or triggering powerful one-time effects. But these werewolves, warriors, skeleton archers and trolls we are facing off against also have their own unique abilities and will need to adapt constantly to new threats if you want to have a chance to survive until dawn. We can do all that later this year. In a fairly unexpected announcement, we have Steamforged Games bringing back a classic Reiner Knizia game, Medici. Last time Medici was in print, it was 2016 from Grail Games, but Medici has been a classic since 1995. Steamforged, on the other hand, is best known for big Kickstarters like Elden Ring and Dark Souls. This was a surprise. In Medici, 2 to 6 players spend your points to bid on sets of cards. Each turn, the current player turns up one of 3 cards for all the players to bid on, with the highest bid taking all the cards, and the cards denote a commodity type and value. The round ends when each player ships off full or the commodity card deck is exhausted. And after each round, points are awarded to the player for having the most of a given commodity and to the one with the most value cargo in total. It's so good. It really is. Steamforged Games' new edition is going straight to retail early next year with all new art. And I just love it when a great classic once again gets new life. The 2-player Space Marine the board game was announced by Games Workshop, where it's the grim darkness of the 41st century, as always, and humanity is spread thin, fighting a losing battle against enemies all across the galaxy. It's not the most optimistic setting. Space Marine the board game is pitched as a survival game pitting the noble Lieutenant Titus of the Ultramarines against the endless swarm of an all-consuming alien horde. It's got 23 push-fit minis, which means I could actually play it, and they tell us that you and a friend will take control of either the lone Space Marine or the 20 ravenous Tyranids that want to eat him. And it's directly aimed to be a foot in the door for anyone who's completely new to the Warhammer hobby, as it's easy to set up and play in 30 minutes, but still has the tactical dice rolling fun of their larger games. I'm really interested in this a lot. This really is kind of aimed at me. I want to play their other big games, but I always feel like I don't have the knowledge and I'm so far behind. So this might be a really good way for me to get in. And what's even better is it's actually out right now. Your ancestors travelled far before finding the ideal place to start over. You are perceivers. You have the gift of seeing beyond the veil of reality. You are the only ones who can communicate with the spectres that haunt these lands. The future of Kalina now lies in your hands. Mistake. Big mistake. Huge mistake there. I'm going to let you in on that secret. You have overestimated me, my friend. Or at least that's the setup for Haunted Lands. That's what it's meant to be all about from Ludus Magnus Studios, which is a new competitive Euro game for 2 to 4 players in which you'll be tasked to explore new lands, search for new resources to help develop your community. But beware, because spectres from ancient civilizations still dwell in these places, frightening the explorers and making your buildings unusable. Luckily though, as perceivers, you are only ones who can communicate with these restless spirits to try and drive them away from the land. So Haunted Lands is all about moving across, gathering resources, building structures and chasing away spectres using the action tokens at your disposal. By returning to Kalina City Tile, you can sell your goods in exchange for pecunia. I have no idea what pecunia is, but I'm excited to find out. You can learn new skills and train to increase the number of action tokens at your disposal. And it looks like if you pre-order this one at the moment, you'll get a mini expansion and it ships out in November. And now for the latest board games available to play online in this segment sponsored by Board Game Arena. Starting with Sky Team, where two pilots work together to land a plane in different airports around the world. If the aircraft tilts too much and stalls, overshoots the airport, or collides with another aircraft, guess what? You lose. And probably you don't have a pilot's license anymore. Other new releases include Moon River, which uses the King Domino game system, but without dominoes. I played this one, it's absolutely wonderful. And Orion Duel, where cosmic explorers traverse the galaxies while taking care not to fall into black holes. Follow the links in this video's description to learn and play these and hundreds of other board games online at Board Game Arena. Red Mojo have announced Inferno, the 1 to 4 player soul management game based on the Divine Comedy by Dante. In this game, each player must guide sinners to their respective circles in hell. The central board consists of 2 parts, one displaying all 9 circles and the soul registry, where the other represents Florence in the early 14th century where Dante lived, with its power games and its palace intrigue. Gosh, you know, I love the sentences I'm able to say in these videos. Each game turn consists of 2 phases. The Inferno phase, obviously, where you advance a soul through hell, earning infamy points if they are successfully guided to their corresponding circle, and the Florence phase, which sounds much nicer, in which you must choose between playing an action at a city location or expose a sinner who is then executed, and then their soul is led to hell. With each death, Dante takes a step closer to his descent, where he reaches the gate that will lead him to purgatory. And that's when the game ends. I mean, this just sounds great, right? The player with the most infamy points is declared the winner and deemed untrustworthy. That should be a condition in almost all games. The GameFound campaign for the Inferno starts early next year. And Undergrove was announced by AEG by Wingspan designer Elizabeth Hargrave and Thunderstone designer Mark Wooten, and all has artwork by Beth Sobel, so there's a lot to be excited about here. For over 300 million years, trees have traded nutrients with fungi in a vast underground network. Scientists continue to make new discoveries about this hidden world, including the fact that some of these nutrients seem to find their way from mature parent trees through the fungal network to the tree's seedlings. I think that's so cool. Undergrove is being billed as a medium weight 3x game for 2 to 4 players, in which you play as a Douglas fir tree that is building a symbiotic relationship with fungi and using them to establish your seedlings. You can explore by adding new mushrooms to a shared forest area, expand by playing new seedlings and roots on those mushrooms, and exploit their relationship with the mushrooms to gain resources, but just those 3 X's. Alright, this isn't the word Zexis. AEG have been on just a roll recently, I think, and this concept seems unique and interesting, but also has a mix of tile placement, worker placement, and pick up deliver, so I'm excited to see it come to Kickstarter on November the 6th. And that's your board game news. But for more Watch It Played fun, you can continue your journey here to our On the Radar episode, where everyone is missing, actually, and a traitor is finally exposed. Maybe.